Prying parents of Reddit, what secret of your child did you discover that made you wish you hadn't? My wife and I are both retired, so we volunteered to house sit when my son, his wife and their 3 kids spent 6 weeks in Europe last summer. We discovered their video collection and were surprised to find their favorite pastime seems to be hosting gangbangs with my dad as a center of attention while our son films the action. We were floored, but never said a word or let on in any way. They are both great people, loving parents and responsible professionals with great careers, and we're not going to let this kink change our opinion of them in any way. But we do kind of giggle and snicker to ourselves now when they ask us to have the grandkids over for the weekend. My 7 years old at the time, Google search history said big bouncy boobs. I was proud. His mom was devastated. I found my son's YouTube search history on his tablet around that same age. It read Bob is on girls. The wife and I still laugh about that one. Back 5 or 6 years ago, my mom got an iPad and it was a treasure of the household. She didn't let anybody use it, but always kept in her room on a charger, mostly because she's technologically inept. One day my 7-year-old brother was secretly playing Candy Crush on it when he heard my mom coming up the stairs. Not wanting to get caught with the iPad, he put it back on her nightstand plugged in and hid under the bed. What he failed to notice at the time was that not only was my mom coming up the steps, but my dad also. My dad at the time was close to 300 pounds. Since then he's lost over 55 pounds. They opened the door, jump on the bed, and proceed to do it with my little brother under the bed. Due to the weight of my dad and mom on the bed, his head was slammed into the ground with every thrust. Poor kid had to endure that for several minutes and had to wait for the two of them to go to the bathroom so he could make his escape. He doesn't like to talk about it to this day, and I don't think he's told my parents about that. All he wanted was to play some Candy Crush. I'm just imagining a little kid in fetal position underneath the bouncing bed silently sobbing, I just wanted Candy Crush. As a prying child looking for confiscated video games, I discovered my mom hides my Game Boy way better than she hides her strap-on. When I was a teenager, I used to steal my mom's socks to wear whenever I ran out. At some point, she started leaving her toys right on top of her drawer to deter me. After like the second time of nearly being late to school, I was like F it, grabbed it with a sock and left it on her bed. Well, turns out her sister and mother were coming over that day to look at our new furniture, including a new dresser in my parents' bedroom. You can guess what they really noticed. That was a fun family dinner that night. A lot of nasty sex stuff in here. Let me add some wholesome memes to the mix. My 5-year-old daughter was riding in the backseat auto bubbling away. Eventually she said, "Daddy, I don't think you know this, but when I was young, I used to pick up little bits of things off the floor and put them in my mouth." "Really? What kind of things, sweetie?" "Pieces of paper, fuzzes, things like that." A thoughtful look crossed her face, like she was trying to make a really difficult decision that would determine her fate. Finally she settled on honesty. "And I definitely ate a flower once. I was once really hungry, so I ate a banana in the shower and threw the banana peel on the shower floor. Dad found it later and asked me, quite angrily, what debauchery I was up to with a banana in the shower. He probably thought I was shoving it up my special place. Jesus, Dad, your poor son was just hungry. Leave me be, you old man." I was trying to take a picture on my nephew's phone and discovered he had a taste for intense hentai. Gotta hand it to him, though, he chooses quality stuff. This is about parents, but I don't know when else I'll get to tell. One time in high school I came home on a night where I had said I would be staying at a friend's. Walked into the living room to see a porno on the 50-inch TV screen. But they weren't even watching, they were just chillin' and playing cards on the coffee table while a girl blew some guy in the background. I just go in the window or make ridiculous amounts of noise when I come in nowadays. They were probably waiting for the other couples to show up. Not a parent but a child. When I was 8 and in the 2nd grade we had a project involving me having to look my address up online. I barely knew how the internet worked, and this was a time before all the censoring of porn from the first page of search engines. My district was coming, and so one of the things I clicked on was a video, a man going to Pound Town on a scrotum. I had no idea what I was looking at, couldn't even tell it was human, but my mom walked in only to find 8-year-old me mesmerized by this bouncing ballsack on the screen. Judging by her calm reaction, I think she realized that it was an innocent mistake, but I can imagine the thoughts that went in rapid succession through her head in that moment. Who in their right mind names a district coming? It's either a practical joke or an idiot, because that's bound to get some people confused. In Toronto we have a train station stop that is named Oldcomer. Not even really prying, but came home from work early one day and heard the shower running in the bathroom my 17-year-old son uses. Then heard some decidedly loud sounds of enjoyment from a female. Figuring none of wanted to deal with the embarrassment of an interruption, I retreated to the living room. About 15 minutes later my son and his girlfriend come downstairs and are quite surprised to see me already home. Figuring this would be a good time to twist the knife a little, I said, "So, what were you guys up to in the bathroom? Together?" My son stammered out, "Well, we had been in the pool and wanted to wash off the chlorine, and we were in a hurry, so we went in together, but we kept our bathing suits on." Then his girlfriend looked at him like he was the world's biggest idiot and said, "That's what you're going to go with?" He looked at her and said, "Yep, that's what happened." She looked at me and said, "Okay, we are going with his story." I told them it sounded reasonable. The girlfriend, well, just friend now, is an interesting character. Another time they came in the house and my son had a giant hickey on his neck that he was trying to hide with a turned up collar. Because I enjoy watching him squirm, I made a comment about it. My son started going into this explanation about how he got it during baseball practice. Then the girlfriend pipes up with, "Oh come on, he's not stupid. I did it. Sorry, I'll be more careful next time." Brutally honest. Couldn't give a dime if you judge her. I keep holding out a faint hope that they will get back together someday because she's pretty hilarious to have around when the uptight relatives come to visit. When I was about 15 in the throes of puberty, we were going to the doctor, and for my little buddy apparently that was enough to elicit a response. Well, I was trying to cover it up, and my mom would not stop asking what was in my pocket. So I gave up and just said, "It's my penis, mom." Happy. She was very quiet after that. This didn't happen to me, it happened to my older brother. Anyways, my oldest brother had moved to Arizona for the summer and he came back, and he has no shame. He's talking to me and he pulls out a fleshlight, but it was still in its box or whatever, and on the box were two anime girls with big titties, and he's like, "Look lol." So we both have a laugh and go to bed. Couple days later I'm walking down the hall and I see my dad talking to him, but my brother always has the nervous look on his face when he's embarrassed, and so my dad leaves and I ask my brother what happened, and this is what he said. "Dad found my fleshlight behind the couch, and at first I was worried cause I thought he was gonna get mad at me, but instead he tried to comfort me by telling me that he's seen worse things, and he said that when he was in the Marines one of his buddies would literally orgasm every time he heard or saw a picture of Sandra Bullock, and we are looking at each other and just burst out laughing. That's something I'll never forget." When I was 15, I took a Polaroid of my completely naked boyfriend and kept it hidden under my waterbed mattress. Later on that semester, we had some family issues and my twin sister and I were sent to live with my grandma for a few months, and I worried about that pic the whole time. When we returned, my mom had decided to surprise us by cleaning our rooms and found the picture of my BF standing like Captain Morgan in all his glory, but never said a word to me, so I had no idea. Flash forward a couple of months, and I'm snooping around my parents' bedroom, and I find that picture stashed in her private drawer with her other private things, and I accidentally leave it on their bed instead of putting it away, and my dad finds it, and all hell breaks loose with him yelling, "I thought you threw that away months ago." Not my kid, but a younger cousin, 16. I was asked by his computer illiterate parents to fix his laptop. As it turns out, his browser was full of younger boy/older guy porn. I even found a dating profile where he was looking for much older men. His entire half of the family is very redneck and homophobic, so I cleared his history. When I gave him his computer back, I showed him how to use private browsing. I then apologized for what I was about to say, but felt obligated then explained to be careful looking for anyone so much older as it wasn't legal for a couple years yet, and due to this, he may be finding some real creepers. I then spent the next 4 years correcting his family and calling them out over their homophobic comments. Played the long game with changing their opinions. My cousin just married his boyfriend and his entire family except for one uncle showed. First time I teared up at a wedding. Edit. Thanks for the gold and the kind words. I never would have thought that something so simple to me would mean so much to so many. As a guy with gay friends, I guess I'm not overly exposed to the trials so many have to go through just to be themselves. Internet hugs for all. My son paid for WinRAR